And welcome to Cats and Conspiracies. I'm your man, Codders, and I'm going to be bringing you another hidden gem today, which you may or may not be aware of. Now, this is one of my personal favorites, The Loved Ones. Absolute classic, future cult classic horror film that deserved to be seen. I actually discovered this one myself. I'd never heard anyone talking about this before until I stumbled upon it. And I actually discovered it when Film 4 used to do their little Fright Fest thing, and they'd roll out a load of sort of new horror films or ones that you hadn't heard of. And what I would do would be, I would just record them all, and I'd sit there going through them, just watching them. And if any of them piqued my interest, I would go back and give them a second watch. And as I was going through them one year, the loved one was the loved ones was on there, and it started, and I was kind of watching it out the corner of my eye, and before I knew it, I was fully invested, and I was on the edge of my seat, literally sitting. Not I'm not pretending I wasn't. I'm not saying I was metaphorically on the edge of my seat. I was literally on the edge of my seat, like, come on, come on, come on, come on. That's how invested in this story and the characters I became. So from there, it's become one of my favorites. And anytime I hear someone hasn't seen it, I really encourage them to go and watch this. And that's what I'm going to do for you guys. I really want to encourage you to go and watch this film, because if you're into your horror, and if you're into horror that's got depth as well, if mindless killing with two-dimensional characters isn't enough for you, which it isn't enough for me, I need more than that. I need to be I need to be invested in these characters. I need to care what's happening to them, and I need some kind of storyline as well. Then this is a film you absolutely need to see. I'm not going to spoil too much of it for you. In fact, I'm not going to give you any spoilers. I'm just going to give you the basis of this film and things that are revealed fairly early on. So it's not going to be anything you're not going to find out yourself quite quickly on if you go and watch this film. This is an Australian film. It's directed by Sean Byrne, and the director and the actors have all done an incredible job with what is undoubtedly probably a fairly low budget. There's not really many known people in this, certainly none that I recognise. Although looking around, I can see they have done other things, but there's not any names in this that you're immediately going to be like, yeah, I know that guy, I know who that is. But they all absolutely put their heart and soul into this. You can tell this is a true passion project. This is this is what I want from movies, from stories. I want creativity and I want passion. Hollywood isn't giving us that anymore. They clearly turned their back on us, and they're not even doing it subtly. They're actually getting out there and saying, this movie was not made for you. They're telling us that. And they're crapping all over the originals, telling us how out of date they were, while they remake it in their own view, and then telling us how awful we are for not going to see it. So I say we just listen to them and we ignore what they're doing, and let's give some love, some well-deserved love, to these films which have slipped under the radar and have almost certainly passed a lot of people by. So what happens in The Loved Ones then? Well, we've got um, our main guy, Brent, played by Xavier Samuel, and he's our main man in this situation. Okay, the story is mainly centered around him. Um, there's a couple of other side storylines going on as well, which I'll come back to. His girlfriend Holly is played by Victoria Thane, um, and she actually does play quite a major part in this film as well. All very believable characters in this. You get a sense early on, very quickly, that these are people you can relate to. These are people that have had very similar life struggles that a lot of us have had. These aren't the characters where you look at them and like, I can't relate to these people. I can't sympathize with these people. I just can't get into the headspace at all. But these guys come across as very normal, very likable people that you want to do well. And you'll find out quite early on that Brent has some issues, which are revealed quite early on and understandable. So he is fighting his own demons, and he is struggling himself, and he's got his loving girlfriend Holly there, who is supporting him in the best way that she can. So what's the storyline then? It's prom night, and Brent gets asked to the prom by one of the other college girls, called Lola Stone. And he extremely politely declines and says, "Oh, I can't. I'm going with Holly. I'm sorry." Extremely polite and very kind. He's not mean at all. Unfortunately, this turns out to be one of his big mistakes. Lola does not take well to being declined when she asks him to go to the prom. And from there, things develop. And Brent soon finds himself in the fight of his life. And if he is to survive what he is about to go through, he is going to have to dig extremely deep and find a reason that he needs to survive, because before this all goes on, he is struggling with life, and there are some hints shown where he shows little regard to clinging on to life, and he's kind of toying with, is this all worth it? Should I just let this go? So he's now forced into a situation where he really needs to confront these demons that he's got and decide if he has the strength to fight through and make it through the night. A couple of other characters we get thrown into this. We've got Lola's dad, who is played by John Brumpton, and he does such a good job at portraying this very creepy, let's just say a little bit too invested with his daughter character. And it also seems to be he's kind of reluctantly doing the things that he's doing, as if he's just as scared of Lola as everybody else is, and he kind of thinks that he needs to do what she says or bad things could happen to him. We've got a really nice subplot that's going on through, because this is an intense film. Okay, you're going to be put through an emotional rinser when you watch this film. It's quite exhausting. At the end of it, you feel pretty much physically exhausted. So we need a little bit of light relief to carry us through this film. And we have Brent's best friend, Jamie. And he's a little bit like, he's a bit of a nerd, but he's actually kind of cool as well. He's kind of a cool nerd, very likable again. And he asks one of the other girls to the prom, and you can tell it's quite quickly revealed that she has troubles as well. You can tell. And if you pay attention and watch and listen very closely, you will see a little detail that connects her and why she is the way she is to the rest of the story. You have to pay attention because it's very, very quiet, and you'll only just pick up on it if you hear it. Subtitles may help in that situation. Very tense film. Okay, very much build you up a lot. There is some violent stuff in this film, and it's not done in such a way whereas it's done quick. It's very much insinuated, then it's built up, then it's laid out before you, then you're built up again, and they take you right up to the edge, and then they drop you back down again, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm okay now. And then they bring you back up again, and it's exhausting to keep going through this, but it's extremely suspenseful, and you're going to have such a great time with this film. There is a few twists in this film. Like I say, a few things get revealed, so you do need to pay attention and watch closely. One of the things I love, many of the things I love about this film, I just love the creativity. I love the color palette they've used in this. It's almost like a hazy bubblegum kind of color. You can see in the picture above me there the contrast between Lola's dress and everything else around her. Like it really stands out on screen, and it just looks fantastic. And I love that. I think there is a lot of vision in this film, and they've really put their heart and soul into this. Such an enjoyable, tense film, and the characters are all just all lovable as well. They're even the ones you love to hate. These characters have got depth. These are not two-dimensional characters. You care about these guys, and you want them to get out of the situation they're in, and you want bad things to happen to the bad guys in this. You really want them to get their just desserts. Great soundtrack as well to this film. It opens up very quickly with Lonesome Loser. Great song if you've never heard it before. I do believe it's used in other films as well, but This is the only film I've ever seen it used in, and it just you're in the story within 5 minutes of this film opening up. Hits you with the song, title screen drops down, and you've got Brent and his dad in the car driving together, listening to the music, and there's a bit of conversation between the two, and straight away you've got that he cares about his dad. His dad cares about his son. You can see this relationship they have there with each other. They're making fun of each other. The dad's kind of relaxing in front of his son, and they're kind of being themselves. And straight away, you just love these two characters, and you really care about what happens to them. Another great song in this. I never heard of Casey Chambers before I watched this film, but one of the songs that gets used is called "Not Pretty Enough." It's a great song. As soon as I saw this film, I was like, I've got to find out who sings this. Got it downloaded, and yeah, great kind of country singer, really, really enjoyable. And the song goes so well with this film. You'll never be able to hear that song again without thinking of this film. It just ties in so nicely. And again, another fantastic, really enjoyable part of the movie. So, guys, I'm not going to spoil any more of this other than to say, if you like horror, if you like characters that you can get invested in, really care about, if you want that on the edge of your seat, really rooting for the main character to get through the ordeal that he's going to get through, really wanting the bad guys to get it, then this is the film for you. Go and check out The Loved Ones. I won't ruin the ending. I'm going to leave it for you to discover. And I would advise you not to watch the trailer either. Far too much is given away in the trailer. I was going to show you some, but I think it gives too much away. And it's best you go in completely blind, unknowing what's going to happen to these characters. But yeah, get out there and watch it. All I'll say is I won't tell you which way the ending will go. Find out for yourself, but you absolutely will not be disappointed. So, The Loved Ones, get it on, go and watch it, and spread the word. If your friends haven't seen it and they're into this kind of thing, tell them to go and watch it. And tell them the same, go in blind. The less you know, the better, and the more you're going to enjoy it. So, thanks, guys, for watching. Enjoy the film. Give it the love that it needs. I've been Codders. This is Cats and Conspiracies, and I'll see you again soon.